Hi everybody, happy Bookmas Day 5. So today, I don't know what day it's going to be when you guys are seeing this, but if it's Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas or Happy Holidays or whatever you say. Anyway, today is going to be my adult book gift guide recommendations. Just talking to you guys about my recommendations for fantasy books to gift to the adults in your life. I'm going to have sort of all different levels of fantasy throughout here. And a lot of these books are going to be YA, so they're going to be young adult or adult. But either way, they are fantasy books that are appropriate for adults to read. So, and that I think are really good and really enjoyable. So, I don't want to make this too long, so welcome back if you've been here before. If you haven't been, welcome. My name is Brittany. I do videos about books and autism here on this channel. So if that sounds like fun to you, subscribe down below. And if you like this video, leave a comment about any books that you are gifting to friends and family members this year for Christmas. I would love to see what books you guys are giving and what books you guys have received. Hopefully you've all been giving and receiving some good fantasy reads. So, okay, without further ado, let's just get into it. So, the first, as always, I'll be putting pictures of the books up here, so that you can see what books they are that I'm talking about. So the first book that I want to talk to you guys about is Six of Crows and Croquet Kingdom Duology by Leigh Bardugo. This is a really adventurous, this is a novel about a group of teenagers, I guess, young adults, who are living in this world kind of based on Imperial Russia, and they are, there's magic, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but the point is that they end up going on this heist, and it's like an impossible heist, but they really, really need to pull it off. So it's kind of about them and how they, go on this heist and their relationships with each other, and it's just really quite good. It's got a really good friend group, a really good sort of found family element. It also has a lot of magic and intrigue and stuff, and it doesn't feel too, like, if you're someone who is just getting into fantasy, I would definitely recommend it because it's kind of stays away from some of the more typical fantasy elements, elves and dwarves and things like that. Not that that's a good or bad, it's just the way it is. So I really, really enjoyed this duology by Leigh Bardugo. Okay, I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so next I want to talk about the An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. This is, again, a really, really great fantasy series. I love it. Something about it just makes me feel like I'm back a teenager reading YA. I just get some vibes from it. It's really, really great. It's really well done. It's a well-crafted story. I like the way that she interweaves magic into the story and uses it as it's very, it kind of accompanies the main story, which I really like. And I love the characters. Her characters are beautifully written. There's a lot of depth to them, and they feel very real. They are flawed, but there's also a really grand adventure, and there's more than enough plot, which I love as well. I need good characters, but I also need a good story. I also need a good plot and for things to happen. So it's a really great fantasy series, especially, again, if you're someone just starting out in the genre. I highly, highly recommend it. Okay, the third book that I want to talk to you guys about is, if you guys haven't, read this, if you haven't heard of this, just go look it up. There's tons of information about these books online, all these books, but the next one I want to talk to you about is Eragon by Christopher Poloni. Um, it's really, really a fantastic story about a young farm boy who finds a dragon egg and he ends up becoming a dragon rider. Um, and there are some, more typical fantasy elements. It's not, Tolkien level, but there are definitely more typical fantasy elements in this. And it's really well done. It's really well crafted and beautifully written. And it's definitely, again, another fantasy book that you can just really get absorbed into. I actually bought it for my dad, who is just a very, very beginner into fantasy. He never reads fantasy, but now he's wanting to start into the genre. So I bought him Eragon and also Harry Potter, which is not on this list, but honorary mention to Harry Potter. If you don't know what that's about, go look it up. It's also fantastic. Okay, the next book that I want to mention to you guys is the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I actually haven't read this, but my husband has, and he absolutely loves it. I want to read it, um, as soon as he lets me. He's reread it a few times. I bought the books originally for him, because I thought they were a fantasy read that he would really enjoy. I've heard really good things about them. I want to read them. I think they're going to be fantastic. Um, they're definitely a binge series. Brandon Sanderson's writing is very nice. It's very easy to understand. Um, and he definitely really is amazing with his world building. His world building is incredible. You really, really feel like you're there, which is great. Definitely more adult in terms of fantasy. Definitely more, I think, geared kind of towards adults, more so than YA, but still very, very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent series, I've heard. And I'm going to recommend it because I trust my husband's judgment on fantasy, as well as my own. So, okay, the next book that I want to recommend to you guys is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is a book that kind of has been talked about a ton on BookTube. It's been talked about a lot by Hannah over at A Clockwork Reader, and the way she just completely fell in love with it made me want to read it. I read it. I absolutely fell in love with it too. It's incredible, magical. It's like nothing I've ever read. Um, Definitely not your typical fantasy book, um, but very, very good, especially, if you're looking for something different that still really has a magical feeling to it. Very, very, very good for that. It's really a fantastic book. And again, it's like nothing I've ever read. And I'm really excited to get and read her second book, The Starless Sea, which is out. But The Night Circus, definitely recommend. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Okay. And the last book that I want to mention to you guys is... Where is it? I just saw it here on my husband's shelf, and now I can't see it. Wait, why am I looking on my husband's shelf? It's on my shelves. There it is. So, the last book that I want to mention to you guys is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Obviously, I think you guys probably know what this is about. It's a pretty famous fantasy series, but it's one that I always go back to when I need comfort, when I need reassurance, when I need to just escape. I love going back to Middle-earth. It's so beautiful and incredible, and the story is just, I love it so much. I also have a lot of really good memories associated with it, so that helps as well. Tolkien's writing can be can um, it can be it can take a minute, basically, is what I'm saying. It can take a hot minute to kind of get used to his writing, but once you're used to it, it's really a fantastic series, and I love it. So, okay, and I think that's all I wanted to put in this on this list. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. All right, guys, bye.